Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Early Morning Core. I'm your host, Tristan, and today we will be covering Behind the Mask, the Rise of Leslie Vernon. So grab your coffee and join me for this very early journey. So to start things out with this movie is that the release date is listed as March 16th, 2007. At least USA is what it says. The ratings has a 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb, 76% for Rotten Tomatoes, and 3.4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So it's actually not bad. And it's also listed as a horror comedy with an hour and 32-minute runtime. Now, go ahead and get this out of the way. I just watched this movie yesterday. I just finished it. It was actually pretty good. I liked it. It's got the early 2000s feel that most horror movies have, like the type of blood, the type of slasher, the type of feel of it, the way that it's recorded, everything, like, has that early feeling to it. And it's really good. I really do like it. This was also one that I went into completely blind, which I never do. I never go watch a movie without watching the trailer or reading a description or something along those lines. But I did for this. And there's actually a sequel, it says, called Before the Mask, The Return of Leslie Vernon, which I wonder what that's going to be like. But, alright, let's go ahead and get into this. So the movie starts off with this girl named Kelly taking out the trash. She's got to use a brick to prop open this door, takes out the trash, and then she notices what looks like a man to be standing in the dark, not that far away. So she starts walking over there to go investigate because she's some blonde. And then, boom, all of a sudden that door that she propped open to her work slams shut. So, of course, she now has to circle around the building and to go back inside. Then we cut to this girl that's doing some sort of like news thing for university. She's doing like a news report, and she's talking about how their town and how there are other slasher towns like Elm Street and Crystal Lake and Haddonfield. I mean, how they all have a specific slasher, and how they are going to see how one does it. So she talks about how this Leslie Vernon character gets killed by his mom, and how this they're outside Leslie Vernon's childhood home apparently, and they are trying to find him because he's like appearing at different places, or makes it seem like he is. But yeah, they run into him and they start talking to him. They go inside, and he's like a very upbeat, energetic person, which is kind of eerie. But he has pet turtles. He doesn't neglect them because he leaves them for days on end without feeding them, which he's like, but no matter how much I don't feed them, they just don't die. Like, he's very weird, to say the least. But he also discusses like what he studies, like everything he does, which is like sleight of hand and like some close-up magic stuff, because that's one of those things you may end up having to do, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But we also see him do like bag work, punching it, kicking it, and how he is practicing his cardio, which He's not wrong. You do need a lot of cardio in order to be a whatchamacallit, a slasher of sorts. But that is something else that this movie does, is that it makes Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Michael Myers, it makes all of them real, but realistic. They don't make them, like, we don't have zombie Jason in this movie. We don't have Dream Demon Freddy Krueger. No, it's just, they're all just murderers. So that's a kind of, I don't know if that is considered meta, but it's something. But this Leslie Vernon guy, he is taking them to like his childhood home, and he's kind of discussing how he's going to make his legend come back, and how he's discussing the legend of his character kind of already about this apple orchard type deal, and how he was thrown over this waterfall and everything like that. But so yeah, that was something that he did, was he faked his death. I don't know. This movie is gonna stop making sense kind of at some point towards the end, where it truly does not make sense why he's doing all this and why he knows other people that are doing this. I feel like I missed out on something. Did I might have mixed up two scenes. But okay, so there's something else about being a slasher of sorts. Like, you gotta practice your cardio, you've gotta do the walking thing, because he does mention that. He does say, like, you have to keep up with kids while walking, or making it look like you're walking and then running when they aren't looking at you, so that way you keep up with them. That sounds kind of accurate, but at this point, oh shoot, hold on. Okay, I don't know if that's going to keep that recording or not, but I hope so. Okay, yeah, my laptop just like cut off. I don't know if that deleted any recording or not. I hope not. Okay. Anyways, yeah, he practices the cardio, explains the reasoning for that, and then he also starts talking about how he needs a focus group. So, like, you can't have a group of where it's like, oh, just jocks, like, no, you gotta have the group that has, like, the virgin, the stoner, the nerd, like, stuff like that. Virgin being, of course, the final girl, like all slashers have, or most horror movies have a final girl. And he has already picked one out named Kelly. Kelly is the blonde girl from the beginning that we've seen. He actually has been stalking her, which is very creepy. But yes, the group has to have a final girl, and like I said, we find out that he is also a stalker of teenagers, which is very uncomfortable. And then we cut to the diner that she works at, where Les explains the brick trick with a fishing line on it. And after, of course, they pull this trick of letting the door shut on Kelly, well, after they do that, Les gives this university girl, I forget her name every time, but he gives her this hug, and it's like, are they dating or into one another? Something like that. But uh oh god, I lost my spot in my book. Okay. Yes. He gives her a hug and then takes them out to meet this guy that he kind of learned from, this expert of sorts, which is played by the same actor as the guy that played Herschel in The Walking Dead. He's very cool in this. I really do enjoy him in this movie, but he is like the older man with all the experience of being a slasher, and how, oh well, you get your final girl. Oh well, you can't start off too strong. Like, don't kill off one of her friends. Kill off somebody that she knows. Uh, but after that meeting of meeting this guy, having dinner with him and his wife and everything, uh, this guy also goes into a deprivation tank for multiple days, apparently, in the ground. But this guy does talk about the old days and how it was easier to do their sort of thing, and he also talks about the classic slashers, and Les talks about killing someone affiliated with Kelly, but also like a janitor, like somebody not close to her, that sort of thing. But Leslie also mentions the use of CGI, which was another sort of thing about how he made this letter, like this news article, that kind of makes it to where the person that supposedly killed him was Kelly's uncle or something. Like, he's basically trying to establish that connection that you kind of see in slasher movies. Like, oh my god, I'm secretly related to the person that killed the killer, or oh my god, I'm secretly related to the killer. Kind of like Texas Chainsaw 3D with Alexandra Daddario. But Les has his whole newspaper plan, and it's in the library. So Kelly is in this library because she likes to hang out there, and then he plants this little news article somewhere that she should be able to see it. And then she does see the newspaper, and Kelly, of course, is going to ask the librarian about it, about like, hey, what is this, and do you have any more of these? And then, of course, this librarian is going to kind of tell Kelly everything that she knows. Something else Leslie did was there are the older kind of ways of looking up newspapers where it uses like film of some sort. So there is also that, and he does swap that out. But the librarians tells the story about Leslie killing his abusive parents that made him work the field or whatever, and then the town killing him, which was very weird. And then he is shown right up behind the librarian, and I'm pretty sure he kills the librarian too, just in time for, get this, Robert Englund to show up and shoot at him, or shoot him. I can't remember. There's like a second time where Robert Englund shoots at him, and I don't know if he hits him then or at this point, but we do know Leslie gets hit in the shoulder, but he's wearing a bulletproof vest. So, but Leslie makes his disappearing act, and he's very excited. He's with Herschel, and he's with the camera crew from the university and everything. He's very excited, and I forget the saying that he says, but it's like Robert Englund is this doctor that, represents kind of like the doctor from, Halloween. The one that shoots at Michael's eyes. That sort of thing. But yeah. Leslie and Herschel are very excited about this doctor showing up and being like his villain of sorts. Like, this is the good guy that's supposed to fight me. But Todd, which is the camera guy, and this university girl go to the diner where Kelly works, and then Robert Englund's character goes up to them, asks them why they are following her, and tells them that Leslie is actually this guy named Leslie Mancuso, something like that, and how he's actually he's very deranged and he's dangerous and everything like that. And that he is from Reno, Nevada, not wherever this town is. Oh, but his name is actually Dr. Halloran. And Liz is pissed about them going to the diner and how they could have ruined things. And Liz grabs the university girl by the throat and tells her that he's going to tell her everything. Then Liz does admit that what the doc told her is correct. How he is this Leslie Mancuso and not Leslie Vernon. But they decide to stay with him while he explains why they don't stay at the home and why they don't mess with people in the closet. Like, he describes not staying in the home due to the fact that it would kind of kick things off too early or it'd make people scared of the home, stuff like that. Then he says, like, well, you don't mess with people that are hiding in the closet because the closet represents the womb and it represents safety or whatever. Okay, dude, whatever. He does make multiple sayings like that about how it reflects like human female bodies or something like that. It's very weird. But anyways, he discusses this rule where it's like rule 1, nobody gets away. And he also has rigged up the whole house. He has rigged up the fuse box onto this remote control so he can turn out the lights whenever. He has rigged up escape plans. Like, if you're on the second level, then guess what? I've already pre-cut the branches, so the moment you put weight on it, you're going to fall. He rigged up some of the exits. He also rigged up the cars. He also rigged up, or has it planned to rig the cars. And he also has it rigged up with the tools in the shed to where they break like on first swing. And he says Kelly will become empowered with herself with his manhood. And what he means by that is by her grabbing a weapon. And because weapons are his thing, it's like, oh, well, she's grabbing a part of me. Like, I don't know. It made no sense. Like I said, he's a character. He's kind of weird. But yeah, he did think of like everything. And Les is now eating an apple and he is making cider with this crusher thing, which the moment I seen it, I'm like, okay, who's dying because of that? Who's going to die with the use of that? But yeah, he's making the cider, and then this university girl asks Eugene, the guy that plays Herschel, and Jamie, which is his wife, about how to survive an encounter with a slasher. And they're pretty much saying, oh, well, you just gotta run like hell, or you gotta not be a virgin, or you gotta be a virgin, something like that. Then we see Leslie putting on makeup, getting ready for this, for tonight, for this group to come to his house or whatever. So he's putting on this makeup and he's putting on this like gel stuff that boxers use that apparently tighten up the blood vessels in the face, so that way you don't bleed as much from cuts, that sort of thing. And this university girl is definitely embracing his red flags. Like, she is into him, and he is into her. I don't get it. But the kids arrive, and then Liz goes and grabs their spark plugs. Oh, and then two of the students start having sex in like the top bedroom. And they are all in this room that is connected to that top bedroom. And Leslie goes out and kills them. And he says something along the lines of, "Not a bad way to go out, is it?" It's like, no, that's a pretty bad way to go out. Because he lets them get started and everything before he goes out. But yeah, he killed that couple, and then this university girl doesn't seem to like that he's actually being a murderer. I do not know what she expected, but yeah, apparently she did not like the fact that Les actually does kill people. So I don't know why I wrote this down, but I wrote WTF, Todd. What you mean, good luck? Oh, wait, yes. Okay, they're basically saying goodbye to Leslie, and then Todd tells Leslie good luck. Yeah, no. Todd, you're an idiot. I don't know what you're doing. But Liz and the students say their goodbyes. And then transitions, like they turn off the camera and it transitions into like regular filming style. Looks pretty nice. But University Girl wants to stop Liz, and so they go and they are looking for Kelly. And Kelly's up there not being a virgin, let's just say. And basically after they kind of get their attention, interrupt and everything, Kelly ends up passing out after seeing Leslie outside. And then the university girl explains how, Leslie is and everything, and how he's a murderer. And the two stoners go to this barn, and Les is posing as a scarecrow for the one that goes inside and kills him with his sickle. And then the one outside, he kills with this post shovel by like sticking it in his chest and pulling his heart out. Looks cool. And puts it in his hand. But university students go to the van, and it's also been sabotaged. So they can't go anywhere. So they go to the house, and Kelly died after they explained how she's supposed to be a virgin, and she goes out this window and she quite literally falls to her death. Because we already know that the tree branches were rigged to break upon like any weight. So they're all running around, and Todd draws Les away from the university girl and Doug, and then he trips and he's kind of like, "Oh, come on, Les. Come on, Leslie. I mean, what are you doing? Come on, I'm your friend, man. You don't have to do this, man. I'm your friend." And of course, Leslie kills him because he's an asshole. But we see Kelly, and I don't know why I wrote down Kelly, because that's not Kelly. Kelly's dead by this point, I think. I don't know. But looks like three of them go to, one of them's university girl, one of them's Doug. They go to the barn and they go up in the loft, and one of the film crew gets knocked out, which is I believe Doug. Or what? I'm so confused. Oh, wait, no, it is one of the film crew. It's just like a nameless guy. But he gets knocked out. He knocks out Doc. My God, I'm all over the place. He knocks out Doc. And then Uni and Doug are trying to find a way out. And Doc wakes back up, interrupts Leslie, and he gets stabbed by his sickle or whatever. Then Doug gets knocked out by Leslie, and then a university girl escapes to the shed, where she grabs an axe and challenges Leslie. And Leslie comes out, takes a swing at her. She ducks, and then boom, hits Leslie in the stomach with this axe. And of course, because the weapons are rigged, it breaks, so it doesn't carry as much force or anything. Which I loved that scene. That was really cool. But she does keep the handle as a self-defense weapon, which is very smart. And then she goes looking for him. And she goes into the shed where they were making apple cider, and she sets up this trap for him, which involves hitting him with this pendulum type thing, and then but he does end up on top of her, and he's trying to choke her, and then Uni grabs his sickle and stabs him in the side with it, then leverages him and puts his head in this vice thing and crushes it. And that's how he dies, in the movie at least. Then she starts pouring gasoline everywhere. Because she's smart, and she knows, you gotta do the double tap. She lights the whole place on fire, and then Doug and Doc actually did survive. And then the end. Directed by Scott Glosserman, and the writer being Scott Glosserman and David J. Steve. Like I said, this is a pretty good movie. It's definitely got the early 2000s feel to it. I strongly recommend it. I think if you don't like it, I'd be surprised. It's just a good movie. So let's go ahead and see if we can get into some sort of trivia or something. Let's see what we can find, because there actually should be some stuff, to read. Yeah, some trivia. Okay, at the beginning, Taylor, which is the name of the university girl, I think, standing in front of the Red Rabbit pub, which is a reference to the Red Rabbit matchbook found by Dr. Loomis in Halloween 1978. And the first time Taylor interviews Eugene and his wife, a Lament configuration puzzle box from Hellraiser 1987 can be seen sitting on a table. Did not know that. This is also Zelda Rubinstein's last movie, which is the woman who played the librarian. I didn't know that. When Leslie and the graduate students are scoping out potential victims at the school, he makes eye contact with a young woman. As this happens, 3 girls can be spotted playing jump rope in the background. This is a reference to A Nightmare on Elm Street. So as you can tell, this movie is chock full of references that I did not notice. When Leslie first takes Taylor and her crew to meet Eugene and his wife, the car parked in Eugene's driveway is the same color, make, and model as the car seen in director Sam Raimi's movies. I didn't know that. Several character names are references to classic horror films. For instance, Doc Halloran is a mashup of Danny Torrance's nickname, Doc, in The Shining, and Dick Halloran from the same movie. and Jamie being a reference to Jamie Lee Curtis, who was the final girl in several slasher movies such as Halloween and Prom Night. Doc Halloran's wardrobe and beard is nearly identical to that of Donald Pleasance's Dr. Loomis from the Halloween film franchise. Leslie's real surname is exposed to be Mancuso. Frank Mancuso Jr. was the producer of most Friday the 13th movies. When Leslie first shows the crew his home, he introduces his two pet turtles as Church and Zoe. These are the names of the resurrected pets from Pet Sematary, Church being the cat from Pet Sematary and Zoe the dog from Pet Sematary 2. When Leslie is applying his makeup while being interviewed about his target, the song playing in the background is the same as that heard at the end of The Shining 1980, where Jack Nicholson, appears in the photo. Midnight, the Stars, and You, sung by Al Bowley with the Ray Noble Orchestra in 1934. When Taylor is interviewing Leslie in the shed before the night the murders take place, her mittens have the same moose pattern as Kevin McAllister's hat in Home Alone. Zelda Rubinstein used her signature voice from Poltergeist 1982 while telling the legend of Leslie Vernon to the girl in the library. The town in which the movie is set, Glen Echo, is based on a real neighborhood in Montgomery County, Maryland, near where writer and director Scott Glushman grew up, a notable feature of the area being a turn-of-the-century amusement park that has stood mostly abandoned for several decades. As it deteriorated and earned a fitting haunted reputation among locals, the carousel for which the park is known is referenced in the Glen Echo Entertainment's Glosserman's production company logo. The character Kelly Curtis is a reference to Scream Queen Jamie Lee Curtis, who happens to have a sister named Kelly Curtis. So could it be a reference to her sister named Kelly Curtis? Not Jamie Lee Curtis, but oh well. The movie contains a subtle reference to the Blair Witch Project. Glen Echo, Maryland is a real town in Montgomery County, Maryland, Seneca Creek State Park, and the town of Burkittsville, the two main shooting locations for the Blair Witch Project, 1999, are also located in Montgomery County. Glen Echo is about a 1-hour drive from the town of Burkittsville and less than a half-hour drive from Seneca Creek State Park. There are two connections to Black Christmas 1974. Although never started directly, it was intended that Eugene is an older Billy from Black Christmas. I did not pick up on this. When Leslie's real last name is revealed to be Mancuso, this could be a nod to Nick Mancuso, the uncredited actor who portrayed Billy in the original 1974 Black Christmas. Kane Hodder, who played Jason Voorhees in 4 of the Friday the 13th Jason movies, is seen walking into 1428 Elm Street. This was the address in which Nancy lived in A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. Although it's never explicitly mentioned in the film, Eugene is tended to be an older version of Billy the Killer from Black Christmas. I already read that one. When explaining the plot in the library, Leslie is standing behind a textbook titled Combustion, a foreshadow of his fate. Okay. Shoot. I did enjoy reading all of those, actually. Like I said, if you haven't seen this movie, go watch it. I mean, you are probably going to have to buy it on physical DVD from like Amazon. But it's good. It's a good watch. It's a fun watch. And I think those are the best kinds of watches, are the ones that you can just simply enjoy. Well, anyways, I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.